Okay, so now I want to get into Frank Zappa when we're talking about hype versus buzz. Okay, Frank Zappa is a very interesting and fascinating case study. And if you don't, and you know, it's just many people are not aware of what Frank Zappa did. And so we're talking about hype versus buzz, okay? Frank Zappa, dude, the genius of Frank Zappa is so fucking hilarious. Okay, so I was referencing Frank Zappa in my last video that I'm uploading now because Frank Zappa was pointing out how whenever something becomes popular and trendy, you know, put a fork in it because that means it's fucking done, right? And because all it does is it gets taken over by a bunch of fucking clones. All these clones come in to jump on and try to capitalize on the popular trendy thing. Which is why you should always question anything and everything that's trending. Which is why you should always also consider what Barnes said when he tried to leak to the people that the masses are controlled through fashion and trends. There's a tiny group of people that understand the psychology, have a very advanced understanding of the psychology of the mind, that are using trends to control the masses. Like everybody, like they can create a trend. Somebody used pink Carhartts as an example. And it's just an easy one to use. So this tiny group of fucking masterclass people that have an advanced understanding of the psychology of the mind, which is information they intentionally suppress, so that they can, you know, it's an information war kind of thing. They don't want this information getting out to people about, you know, the psychology of the mind, and so they control that information, and then they use their advanced, you know, knowledge of the psychology of the mind to control everyone using fashion and trends. So this master class that does this, they can astroturf a trend of pink Carhartts, where all of a sudden, you know, pink Carhartts is like, you know, you start seeing everybody, all the trendy popular people, they're all wearing pink Carhartts. And then all the sheep will look at it and they're like, hey, I'm noticing that more and more, you know, they're all the cool people, all the trendy people, they're all wearing pink Carhartts. And so all the sheeple, like, you know, of course, sheeple, it takes them a while to catch on, but after a while, they're like, how come all my superstars that I love are all wearing pink Carhartts? I wonder if maybe they have them at Walmart. And then they go, and next thing you know, everybody's wearing pink Carhartts. And the master class up at the top is laughing. And they're like, look at these dumb fucks. Everyone is controlled through fashion and trends. So the more trendy and popular something is, the more you should question it. Now, that doesn't mean that everything that is that might be trending or popular is that. But 9 times out of 10, yeah, 9 times out of 10. And if you ever see something that's trending and popular that's actually organic and not hype, you're lucky. You're lucky that even exists. That's a glitch in the matrix. And the glitches in the matrix exist. There are glitches in the matrix, you know. But Frank Zappa, dude, the guy was way ahead of his time, man. And he was explaining how whenever something becomes popular and trending, it put a fork in it. It's done. It's over. You're fucked. It's over. Like, fucking just forget about it. Fucking forget about it. And then people go to these smaller, like, more supposedly more free speech, free thinking platforms, you know, thinking that whatever's trending in there, that's what's up. That's where it's at. Absolutely not. It's just the same thing. You know, Pepsi or Coke, which you want? Pepsi or Coke? It's always like the same. Every once in a while, you might get something, and a lot of times it's on accident. It's on accident. We're like, and which is why I like bringing up Hurricane Helene. Well, the biggest part about Hurricane Helene is that all these displaced people, and it was all a manufactured event to displace these Helene victims so that they can fucking, you know, run off with all the fucking money. You know, all the whatever resources are in that area, they fucking, you know, they just vampirize that whole area by manufacturing this event. And it displaces all these people. So they're talking, so it's accident. Like they're accidentally talking about, well, there's this phenomena where they're intentionally displacing people to extract all the resources and run off with all the resources. Well, and then you look at like, well, maybe that's why there's over 1 million displaced homeless people in this country. You know, so they're accidentally like bringing it up. And that's why I keep warning people that this is going to end up being a trend where eventually they're going to be like talking about all these homeless displaced people. It was all a conspiracy. You know, they intentionally drove all these. Eventually that's going to be in trending someday, probably in mine in your lifetime. And when that trends, big trouble. That means dude, that means we're fucked. That means, you know, the truth really is coming out for once, you know. And again, like every once in a while, yeah, something will be and it usually just happens accidentally, organically. We're a glitch in the matrix. You know, that's what a glitch in the matrix is there's some flaw. It's just like, wait a second, what the fuck is that? It's like, oh, well, you're a newbie. You don't understand, Neo. That's a glitch in the matrix. That means we're fucked. You notice that? Dude, look at, this is what I'm saying. A glitch in the matrix happens on accident. It's some flaw. And then, but it's a clue though, where it tips people off. People in the know, it tips them off like shit's about to go down. Look at the glitch. They're like, or Neo's like, whoa, and they're like, what? And he's like, well, I saw this cat go by, and it like stopped and looked at me and shook its head and then walked, and then I saw another cat, and it was like looked exactly the same, and it did the exact same thing, and then look at their response. Look at the Nebuchadnezzar crew's response, like Morpheus and them. They're like, okay, now we're fucked. Yeah. And Neo's like confused, like, what? What do you mean? It's like, and then Trinity's explaining that's a glitch in the matrix. Whenever there's a glitch in the matrix, that means shit's about to go down, and that's why, dude. That's what like you're gonna see, and that's what happens when something is buzzing, is catching a buzz. First of all, that itself is a glitch in the matrix. That means like that something that's not fake is generating like people's attention. So, because everybody's controlled through all this fake shit. Well, and then something organic starts to happen. When something organic that isn't fake starts to draw people in, that's a glitch. That's a glitch in the matrix. And so yeah, you know, this happens, but it's rare. At least 9 times out of 10, it's just more of the same bullshit. But every once in a while, you'll see a glitch in the matrix. And whenever there is a glitch like that, it's like, yeah, that means something's up. And that's what I'm saying. As this displaced homeless shit it's going to become a glitch. It is already a glitch. It's a massive glitch in the matrix that nobody's paying any attention to, and it's going to accidentally, like, the glitch that's going to happen is it's going to start drawing attention organically, not astroturfed, just organically. And once it does, all these fake, hyped up hipster hypey fucking dumb fucks are gonna jump on it like, well, this is the latest trend. Oh, I'm also, and then they're reporting on it. Hi, I'm True Stream Media, and we're gonna talk about homelessness. And it's like, people like me, we've been talking about it since 2008 because, yeah, it's like a massive fucking, like, what the fuck? Why isn't anybody talking about it? Well, the reason nobody's talking about it is because everybody's controlled through fashion and trends, and it's not fashionable and trendy. And the glitch is that it becomes accidentally, the glitch is that it accidentally starts to generate buzz where people, it just starts drawing people to it, and it shows up in trending, and it's like, whoa, what the fuck is that? Just like Neo's like, wait, what the fuck? I just saw this thing. Yeah. And again, what was the response when Neo's like, whoa, I just saw this weird thing? Well, the people that are much more in the know than Neo, they're like, okay, fuck. All right, now we're in trouble. You know, that's what I'm saying. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. Some weird thing, and I predict it's homelessness is going to become trending. And when it does, anybody in the know, when they see it, they're going to react exactly like Morpheus and Neo, or Morpheus and Trinity and the Nebuchadnezzar crew did. They're all going to look at it like, okay, now we know, okay, there's the glitch. Okay, now let's, react and respond accordingly. And Neo's confused because he's not in the know as much as they are. He's like, what? I don't understand. What do you mean? He's like, well, dude, if homelessness is trending, it's like, dude, fucking shit is going down big time. Here's your gun. Come on. I'll show you. Fucking this is, dude, we're fucked, or whatever. Yeah, that's the glitch in the Matrix, man. Totally. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's already tickling the tiger, with the displaced Hurricane Helene and child sex trafficking. Like, they're tickling the tiger on this. Because that's why I keep bringing up child sex trafficking. Dude, the majority of all sex trafficked children are homeless. They're pulling them right off the streets. That's the whole thing. That's what it's all about. But they don't talk about that ever. But child sex trafficking, they talk about it all the time. On BitChute, on these so-called edgy, like ahead of the curve platform. Like, they're dumb. They're stupid. If they can't connect, and they claim to be like, oh, well, I have this great, talent for pattern recognition. They aren't even connecting the dots on child sex trafficking and homelessness. Like, total retards. They're just hyped up clones, cloning whatever is trendy, But they're tickling the tiger when they start scratching the surface on shit like child sex trafficking and like displaced Hurricane Helene victims, stuff. Like, it's eventually, it's the glitch is coming. It's coming. It's going to accidentally open up that can of worms, and when it does, people in the know are going to respond just like Morpheus and Trinity did when Neo saw the glitch of the cat, the black cat crossing his path. That's exactly what that will be, the black cat. But nobody listens to me, and I sound crazy, and that's okay, whatever. Just keep believing there's a world genocide, with jabs and blah, blah, co-videodrome. Just keep listening to nonstop 24/7 co-videodrome, jabs, Zionism, like, it's just bullshit, dude. It's all bullshit. But anyways, yeah, when something trends, Frank Zappa was totally right, and dude, like, people don't understand the genius of Frank Zappa. I never did. I never really, I respected Frank Zappa because, I grew up during MTV. I grew up when Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil, you see the, MTV music videos, like the real MTV, not the fake fucking dumb shit it is now, but the real MTV where you saw, like, Panama, Van Halen's Panama music videos, and, Motley Crue, Home Sweet Home music videos, and Def Leppard, fucking Pyromania music videos, and Frank Zappa had music videos back then, and I never really got it. But dude, back in the 80s, back during MTV, Frank Zappa put out a music video. See, looking back in hindsight, I understand the genius, but that back then I didn't. It was just kind of like a whatever. I'm not really into this, But he put out a music video making fun of all the the rock stars because they were all selling out. They would put product placement in their music videos, or they'd have their ZZ Top or some band would have some music video and it's all cool, and then they've got the big product placement of Pepsi in their video, and Frank Zappa was so far ahead of his time, like, and that's what the majority of everyone was doing on MTV, was selling out. But people like me, we didn't know, and so Frank Zappa is putting out this video that's different than everything else, and it's all just making fun of how all these bands are selling out. And he's even showing caricatures of ZZ Top and all the and stuff. And I mean, looking back in hindsight, it was pure genius and hilarious. But during the time, I didn't really understand what that video was. And Frank Zappa music is not very radio friendly. It's not like doing what everybody's doing. It's a different sound. And so Frank Zappa is a very, very fascinating. And so for years, I never even regarded, I would never listen to Frank Zappa. And then you know, during my college years, you know, I would hang out with musicians and stuff. And so there were some people I was hanging out with that were big Frank Zappa fans, and I still never really got it. I didn't really care, because I always had respect for Frank Zappa, because I knew he wasn't a sellout, but I wasn't into it. I'm a metalhead and blah, blah, blah. But people were like Frank Zappa fans, and I was like, oh, okay, you know, whatever. You know. But then it wasn't until much later, many years later, a buddy of mine gave me some Frank Zappa CDs. He would give me all kinds of music, because he was way into music. He would always giving me like CDs of live Dead shows and shit. And so I'd listen to him. And so he gave me a stack of Frank Zappa CDs, but I never really listened to him, because I'm not familiar with Frank Zappa. I respect him and regard him as you know, but I never listened to him before. You know, it's something new, you know. And so I just, at some point I got so bored, and so I just, out of curiosity, I just threw a Frank Zappa CD on, one that my buddy gave me after years. I mean, those CDs sat there for years. And so just out of boredom one day, I was like, these Zappa CDs, you know, my friend went to the trouble of burning these for me. Maybe I should at least throw one on, whatever. You know, we're talking 2 or 3 years later or something. So I put this Frank Zappa CD on, and I'm like, what the fuck? Dude, because dude, there's so many Frank Zappa albums. He's like pumping this shit out like crazy. Dude, I don't even know how many albums, stacks and stacks of just like all these albums. And so I put, like, he did this project where it's all instrumental, and I'm a musician, like I play bass and stuff, and so I'm listening to this. I had no idea that Frank Zappa, their musicianship was so badass, like way badass. I didn't know. And so I'm listening to this. It's called Shut Up and Play Your Guitar, and it's like a three albums of Shut Up and Play Your Guitar, and it is fucking just, the drums are fucking, like, every instrument is way fucking, and I've always been into virtuoso players, but I didn't know Frank Zappa was playing with virtuoso players, and that Frank Zappa himself was a virtuoso player. I always thought he just sang. He just sang and had his big band. I didn't know that he even played guitar. And this album is called Shut Up and Play Your Guitar. Frank Zappa is so good, dude. He is such an amazing guitar player, and he's way outside the box. Like, he's way off script. He's not doing conventional guitar shit, and it is way sick. And then the bass player he has is fucking, like, it's just this stellar fucking, just really top-notch players playing just way the fuck sick, badass shit. Hard-hitting shit. And I never knew that about Frank Zappa. So then I start like, wow, right? So I fucking like, I started listening to those albums a lot, because I never knew. I always thought Frank Zappa just sang on the microphone, had the band, and they just kind of did, you know, kind of old man rock and roll shit. Like, no way, dude. Like, this guy, holy fuck, right? And so I'm like, what the fuck, right? So then I start listening to other Frank Zappa, and listening and just observing what his career over the years. And bro, Frank Zappa, when you want to talk about hype versus buzz, and like when he's talking about how when something is trending, stick a fork in it, it's over. During the 60s, Frank Zappa was making fun of the entire hippie movement and making fun of all these liberals. And but his music was good, and people just like your sheeple always viewed Frank Zappa as part of the hippie scene. They never really like listened to what is it that Frank Zappa's songs are about. And so you get all these hordes of hippies always showing up to his concerts in the 60s, when his whole concert, everything about it was making fun of the very people that are showing up to his concert. Like he's just like joke after joke. The jokes would just write themselves. Like he was like the Keck of the 60s before Keck even came onto the scene, you know, Pepe the Frog, or Keck the Frog. Like he was way so far ahead. Like his albums, every album in the 60s was mocking any and everything about the whole hippie, love and peace movement. You know, he was mocking it the whole time, every album. But his music was good, and it was like everybody just associated Frank Zappa to the hippie scene, and so he was selling out shows to all these hippies, when every single song he's playing was specifically designed to make fun of how stupid they all are. And this went on throughout the entire era of the 60s, and he is regarded, was then and still to this day, as just arguably the best of all of them. Of all, with the exception of one or two, you know, like the Grateful Dead, maybe, but the genius of Frank Zappa exceeds the genius of Grateful Dead in what he was doing. He was making fun of the Grateful Dead, and all those Deadheads were showing up to his concerts not even knowing that Frank Zappa's whole thing was making fun of him. It was all a fucking mock and a joke and a mockery of the whole thing. And they're all like, yeah, Frank Zappa's like, it was pure genius on every level. Musically, just everything about it was far surpassed any genius of anything that, even to this day. Like, look at music today compared to Frank's. Like, nobody has the brains to. There is nothing like that going on, and like I said, most people don't know this about Frank Zappa. They don't know that Frank Zappa was just this massive fucking like human experiment, but it was justified because the whole hippie movement was stupid. It's all fake, astroturfed, hyped up bullshit. And Frank Zappa's entire career, all throughout the whole hippie movement, was making fun of it. And he had everybody thinking that he was part of the hippie movement, showing up to and he was selling out shows. He's one of the biggest top three of the whole fucking thing. And he never stopped. His entire career was that. Like I said, the MTV music video of his, which I didn't understand back then. He's the whole time, all he's doing is exposing all these fake, hyped up frauds. His whole career, his whole life was devoted to that. Read Frank Zappa quotes, everything he's talking about. He's a philosopher. He's a genius in that sense. He's always trying to expose this to people. Like that they're being fooled. This is all a facade. This is all hype. And and Frank Zappa was able to do this, and it was because what he's doing is real. So no matter how much people, he's always going to have a fan base, because people that can identify the difference between hype and buzz are going to be drawn to Frank Zappa, because he's doing something real. It's not hyped up, fake hype bullshit. It's real. And so Frank Zappa was a glitch in the fucking Matrix, man.